Grow 'em Big with Steve Bartylla. Brought to you by Huntworth and these other fine sponsors.
I don't care if we're talking hunting, I don't care if we're talking habitat improvement. I don't care if we're talking growing deer. We're looking for that golden ticket. Do me a favor, if you ever find that, let me know what it is, because I'll tell you what, in my now well over 30 years of management and well over 40 years, or almost 50 years of hunting, I haven't found it. What I have found is that a bunch of little things in habitat improvement end up adding up to a big thing. What do I mean by something like that? Well, if you come into an area, if there's no food, you've got a serious food issue, massive food shortage in this area. You go in there and you put in a food plot. Wow. You go ahead and put in it's a new food plot, so you're putting in 3 parts fall, winter, spring cereal rye, 1 part lights out oats at 150 to 200 pounds per acre because it's a new food plot. Well, you're going to draw deer like crazy, and you're going to do all sorts of good for that dirt. That cereal rye is going to mine NP and K from way deeper in the dirt than any of your other plantings will ever get to, bringing all that food up for the other plants. You're going to control weeds. You're offering 15+% protein. It's the first thing to green up in spring. I mean, man, add all that up and you're probably looking at a 10%, maybe 15% bump in the quality of hunting, assuming everything's done right on that property. Then you go ahead and you edge feather. You hinge cut the low timber value trees in about a 5-yard wide band, the safe timber value trees. You don't even need to use a chainsaw. You can use a handsaw if you want to, if chainsaws intimidate you. And if chainsaws intimidate you, don't go out there and do this stuff, because they're dangerous tools. But you go ahead and you edge feather the low timber value trees that are like this big and smaller. Drop them down so they're like this, maintaining that connection to the root system in a 5-yard band around that food plot. You just went ahead and created a smorgasbord of greens that those whitetails are going to be hammering on. At the same time, you're allowing more light into that food plot now. Oh, you've also created a privacy fence that Mr. Big, he can't just go ahead and cruise by at 50 yards if he's upwind. He cruises by at 50 yards, he's not going to see anything now. He's got to go stick his head in there. Oh, why don't we go ahead and create little trails through that 5-yard band of nasty in areas we want them to enter and exit, in safe wind directions. And then, let's go ahead and add a water source. And while we're at it, let's throw out a 6 Dunstan chestnuts and a 6 apple trees at the same time. So now we've got food plot, we've got mass trees, we've got water, we've got extra sun, we've got our plantings bringing all sorts of nutrients up from the dirt and acting as a herbicide, building our soils, all those. Not any one of those things change the world, but you add enough of them together and it does. So now you look at some other examples. We go out and we either plant or buy a couple acres of corn or soybeans back from the farmer. We go ahead and plant a bunch of honey hole. We wait for those brassicas to get about this tall, or in the green, we wait for those leaves to start yellowing. Okay. The second that happens, when you see a all day long rain event coming, go ahead and get yourself 3 parts fall, winter, spring cereal rye, 1 part oats, mix it up at about 100 pounds per acre. Go ahead and top seed into those brassicas that are 3, 4, 5 inches tall, or into those standing soybeans and corn once they start yellowing. Okay, you just go ahead and throw it on top of the dirt at about 100 pounds per acre, And then the rain comes, and now all of a sudden you've got cereal, rye, and oats coming up underneath it. You just went ahead and extended those two food sources so much further than they would have been able to get on their own. And you've diversified. It's really not any one thing that makes such a big difference in habitat improvement. If you figure it out, please let me know what it is. What it is stacking a whole bunch of little things to make that difference.
Final thoughts, brought to you by Huntworth.
We all want that golden ticket that's going to change everything, and if you find it, please let me know what that is. Because the only thing that I really know how to do effectively is as many little things as we can to stack the odds of success in our favor. One isn't going to make that big of a difference. Three aren't going to make that big of a difference. You start talking 10, 20, 30, 40, now all of a sudden those little 1, 2, 3 0.5% bumps, they add up. Go ahead and look to see what little things you can do on your ground to make a big change in the habitat improvement end.